Megan Corwin.
Merrily Tompkins' work personifies what we have come to think of as Northwest funk. She is a groundbreaking metalsmith and sculptor, self-described as a renegade jeweler. Her work is populated with found objects, many of which come from her father, an avid collector of anything he found intriguing, what we might call trinkets or humble objects. She is the original artist working since the 1960s in what is called, in contemporary terms, repurposed materials. Merrily was raised in Everett, lived in Seattle for over 30 years, and moved to Ellensburg when her friend and famous Northwest artist Ken Corey passed away, returning to the school, Central Washington University, where she once studied with her beloved brother, Don Tompkins. In 2011, Merrily had her most recent solo exhibition at the internationally known Jim Carter Galleries in Vail, Colorado. In the accompanying book, Merrily Tompkins, Jim Carter writes, Tompkins' approach to creating her pieces is clear to see. It is naive American folk art as you can find. To see her work is to appreciate her mind and dedication to her vision. She has never imitated another style or embraced an art movement, although many have tried to imitate the style that she has created for more than 40 years. Merrily has said that the true mark of genius is not perfection, but originality. She likes the hand of the maker to show. Her hand is completely her own and intriguingly narrative, often humorous, as you will soon see. She is the recipient of 2 National Endowment Awards, the subject of an article by Ben Mitchell entitled Over Yonder in Metalsmith Magazine 2006, and winner of many Best of Show awards from 1972 to the present. Her pieces are in a number of collections, both private and public, such as the Smithsonian Institute of Art, Renwick Gallery in D.C., the Museum of Fine Arts, Houston, Texas, the Tacoma Art Museum, the Washington State Arts Commission Art in Public Places, and many more. She is published in Ornamentas Art Avant-Garde Jewelry, the Helen Williams Drutt Collection, 2007, Broaching It Diplomatically by Helen Drutt English in 2000, with accompanying exhibition which traveled to the Netherlands, Finland, Estonia, and to the American Craft Museum in New York. The Jewelry of Ken Corey, Play Disguised by Ben Mitchell, published in 1977, and Metalsmith Magazine, Ellensburg Funky by Matthew Kangas, 1995, among others. Merrily Tompkins is one of our own, a Northwest native who enriches all of us with her work. Join me in welcoming her to speak.
Thanks for that introduction, Megan. I wish I could have been to all those places my art's been to, but I haven't. I'm just gonna read a little thing I wrote. I'm not really a public speaker, so I don't know that I can wing it very well, but I gave it a lot of thought and wrote a little thing, and then I've got a video that was aired on the Seattle channel. There's a little art show called Art Zone with Nancy Guppy. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. And then I'm going to show you some old school slides, and then I'll show you another little video that come from I can't remember the name of the TV station, but it was when I had a show at the gallery in Spokane. At the museum. So anyway, here goes. I've been making things since I was a little kid. I like discovering new ways of putting things together. My approach to object making doesn't involve much complicated technique. Maybe I need to look into outsourcing. I really admire makers who have mastered traditional craftsmanship. I'm just more interested in making it up as I go along. That approach keeps me interested. Making it up doesn't mean I don't go about it carefully and lovingly with respect for the materials I'm working with. I always conjure with care. My grandmother told me there's more than one way to skin a cat. My Aunt Pearl told me she was going to raise hell and put a prop under it. I bought into both philosophies. I keep working because it's become one of my life's main purposes. It's how I let my light shine, and it's how I honor the world and try to give back. For me, achieving and maintaining a balance between life and the studio is pretty much a matter of determination and establishing priorities. I don't always do the dishes right away, and sometimes the laundry piles up. I try to spend some time in the studio every day. Sometimes it's only 15 minutes of staring at things, maybe listening to music. George Jones and Leonard Cohen are two of my favorites. I typically work on one piece at a time, and the further I get into the development of the piece, the longer my studio sessions become, because I get involved and excited. I get anxious to see the finished thing. What inspires me and keeps me excited is observing and engaging with what my sweet ex-husband and good friend John describes as life's rich pageant. I love people and their foibles and victories. I like to celebrate being in the boat together. The ridiculous and the sublime ways we behave and interact with each other. Hello. and just a minute now. The ridiculous and the sublime ways we behave and interact with each other and with our sweet old world. I have said, and I will repeat now, that I'm interested in the small, private moments in people's lives, and I think it could be reasonably argued that those moments are what ultimately drive the world. Sources of inspiration are all over the place if you learn to watch and wait and listen. Sometimes I get the start of an idea from a song lyric. Sometimes it floats past on a dust mote while I'm sweeping the floor. Watching my dog go about her day amuses and entertains me and often puts me in a frame of mind and heart that seems to invite the necessary divine influence and guidance I need to push me into my work. My children are grown, and I don't have a regular day job. Still, I'm not someone who punches into the studio at 8 sharp every morning. I particularly don't much like beginning a new piece. It can become an exercise in anxiety and doubt. It's hard work. I have to force myself to dive in and surrender, to be open and patient. And there's at least one member of the audience who can empathize with this philosophy. I don't want to do it. And so I tend to procrastinate and wander off. But if I let too much time elapse between projects, I begin to feel awful and wrong. I think it's because I'm not doing what my heart knows that I need to do. So I keep on, and I'm grateful for the way my life has unfolded. And now...
Do you hear it?
I was born in Everett, Washington. Always been a Washington girl.
That's all I got.
And my parents were grade school teachers in little Podunk. And I had them both.
That's what I was thinking.
No.
No?
That's my dad over there in the corner with a whistle.
My dad was a real eccentric guy. He had these empty full of little trinkets, all kinds of beads and buttons and doodads, and I would sneak into his room and just stare at everything and, swipe what I could. I still have lots of this stuff that he left, and I like using it. It's kind of like sending it out in a different form and kind of being in touch with my dad and his nuttiness. When I first started out, I was pretty much exclusively making one-of-a-kind jewelry stuff. And then after I'd been working bigger with different materials, it really freed me up. And I think that was a big pivot point for me when I realized I didn't have to, have a map to go by. I could just keep on the blue highway. I guess my little stock answer on describing my work would be three-dimensional multimedia, narrative, figurative stuff. I hope it speaks to the humor and just craziness of being alive and human. It's just like, what the?
Well, this is a portrait, it's called Black Sheep. It's a portrait of my Uncle Ernest. He used to scratch his back with a butcher knife, which as a little kid just thrilled me. This is kind of a self-portrait. Here's me trying to control my big urge, which sometimes they're very hard to control.
I love burnt matches. I love them. I use them a lot. I made a piece called Twice Shy. He's 6 feet tall, freestanding, and he's got this nice plaid shirt and pants and stuff all made out of matches. And pre-ignition, they were red, and then I lit him on fire, and now he looks really good. Everything looks like it has possibilities to use my work.
This is all pretty run-of-the-mill. Here's a pink plastic jackknife. You got your kid riding an ostrich. There's nothing wrong with plastic.
I have lots of stuff, I know, and I'm running out of room, but you know, I bring something in and then I move something else down the line to somebody else. But I mean, sometimes it does get a little tight in there. I'm glad I'm a little person. I like looking at things. I like arranging things. I like stuff. I especially like stuff that's kind of beat up because I like thinking about where it's been and where it's going to go now, and I like deterioration. If you look around here, you'll know that. I lived in Seattle for over 30 years, and it was just serendipity. My dear friend Ken Corey lived in this house, and I'd been visiting here for decades, and it was just like home. And he died in 1994, and I had a little house in Seattle, and I just sold that and moved over here with my 3 boys, Elroy, Riley, and Arlo. I love my boys. My boys are the best thing that ever happened to me. Elroy and Riley, the twins. Whew. I think I blocked out that first year. And Arlo, little Arlo was a surprise, and I'm real grateful for him.
We should do this more often.
Anybody who's an artist, you gotta be somehow craving attention. And it's so fun to work so hard and then see everything in a show and be like, hey, maybe I'm not a lazy bum. That piece was shot by Valerie Vosa, and a crew of 3 women came over and spent the day with me in the summertime, and it was really, really fun. It was great spending time with them. So I guess now we'll look at some slides, and then you're going to see some images in the slides that a couple of them you saw in the little taped piece, and then the video I'm going to show you after this, you can see them move. A lot of the pieces move. So, hit it. These are pieces made by my brother, Don Tompkins. He did a series that he called commemorative medals. And this one's for Teddy Roosevelt and Nixon. Bring us together. And in that little circle, there's a photograph of the Kent State terribleness. Okay, next slide. I don't think I need to say something about everything, do I? Go ahead. It'll take too long. Oh, this piece on the left is a casting of my friend Linda's belly button before she was pregnant. And it's called, I made this while I was just after I got out of school, but we cast her belly button while we were students together. Anyway, it's called Social Stratification and Corresponding Naval Adornment, a Guide. So you go from upper class, which is pearls, down to lint, which is lower class. And this is, I think the Bellevue Crafts Fair was fairly new when I won Best of Show. It must have been. There wasn't much competition. But one of the prizes for winning Best of Show is you got to have a show at the Henry Gallery. And so this was about 1973. What do you think, Bean? 73? I'm talking to you, Jean. Yeah. Oh, okay. Hey, is my cousin here? Verl? Okay, then. And so anyway, I displayed my pieces, a lot of them, on cutout photographs of the people I'd made them for. This is my dad looking at his deal. I made him a bolo tie. Okay. Oh yeah, that's the back of the belly button one, and this is a birth control caddy. It's just, that's a yen there, and you unhook it so you can rotate it, and a pill will come out. It's called the Wild Oats Sewing Kit. I was really into, I really liked puns and stuff. I still kind of do, I can't help it. Okay. Should I call you a name? Okay.
It's not his name, you can call him.
So when I first started out, I liked putting things in cases. I used to go down to the public market in the early 70s, and I really liked how they had displayed things in cases so you can see them kind of piled up like, landscape stratification almost. And so I started, has mustard seeds in it. And the one on the right is it's pretty tiny. It's only about 1.5 inches across, and it's a pin, and it has the tobacco from one Camel cigarette in it. Okay, Kirk. Sagacious desert boot has sage in it. This is one on the right that I made for my mother. It says, "Will you accept a collect call from Merrily?" And this is, I work mainly just with sterling and silver sterling and copper and brass. Okay. That's the back of the desert boot, and just a sign I think is really funny of a guy driving a shoe through space while you wait. Okay. Oh, another shoe. That shoe was in Anchorage, Alaska. I was teaching a workshop up there years ago, and it's just a shoe kind of glued to the side of the truck. It's a real thing. And on the left is photographs of, on the left, Les Lapierre, who was the other half of the Pencil Brothers from Ken Corey. If you are familiar with Ken and Les's work together as the Pencil Brothers, that's Les on the left, and on the right is Jimmy Manolitas, who ran the first gallery that I had work in Seattle back in 1971, and they got sawdust in the truck. And Ken Corey, I didn't know how to enamel then, so I asked Ken, and he made the license plate for me. So, okay. Maybe, you know what, make this one go ahead one. Because I think those trucks are supposed to, yeah, there we go. That's simulated moon dust in the American cheese sandwich. And then this one I made for a judge. It's called Open and Shut Case with Exhibit A. And it's about the whole thing. It's hinged in the middle. It's a pendant. Both of them are pendants. That's mostly what I do. And the whole thing is about 4 inches tall, so it's pretty little. I think that one's she donated to the Tacoma Art Museum, so it's in that collection. I don't know where the other one is. Oh well. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is one of the very first pieces I made that moves. It's no groaning. It's called Romantically Inclined Plane. And it has feathers in the cockpit, and you pull the tail, and the wings go like this, and it's on a hanger, and it has a propeller. And so, okay. Oh, there's me and my ride. Okay, go ahead. Oh, this is, look at me. Oh, man. That's my friend Bert. Oh no, you got to call him Roland now. Roland Garner in about 1974, and I made this portrait of him. He used to hang art shows, so I've got a plumb bob and a level on this, and you pull the plumb bob, and he bangs on the, this is called How to Improve Your Picture, and he bangs his beer bottle on the TV, and the palm jumps up. And then, I don't know, do I have, go ahead, I want to see if I got the back. Oh, there, he kept changing his hairdo, so I made him some little wigs. Let's see. First he got a perm, then he went all punk and pink, so there's one that's pink flocking too, and there's a little storage area in the back of the piece where there's little heads you can store the wigs on. Oh. Okay, and that one's about 4 inches high, maybe 3.5, something like that. Oh, is this moving? Wow. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, so that's the back of it. Okay. Oh, there's his punk wig. It's sort of a mullet thing he's got going there. And on the right is cowpoke, and you open it's a little purse, and you, I made it for Annie Gerber. She wanted a purse to keep her bus change in when she quit driving. And so the latch is hooked to the cow, so when you open it, she gets backed into the cactus. Okay. Oh, there's the wig storage. And this is a snatch purse. It's made it's made of beaver fur. Yeah, I know. And the latch is hooked to the train, so it goes in the tunnel. It's just like, oh man, stop. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, go on. There's Ken, Corey. We went rafting. Oh, there's a portrait of Ken. Oh, that was supposed to be with him. That's right. Oh, I screwed you all up. Oh well. Back up the right one. I'm sorry. No. Yeah. So there's Kenny, and this is a portrait I made to document this outing we had on the Columbia, and we took a bucket of oranges with us for our snack and forgot about it, and we were out there rolling around, and all of a sudden there were oranges bobbing all around us, and our bucket had tipped over. So this, when you pull the pencil, the red pencil, that was his alias, and the oar goes back and the canoe goes forward, and he just sits there. He stays in one spot. It's not because I wanted that to happen, although I think it's funny, but I just couldn't figure it out. It was too much. So, okay. Oh, this is a Man from the Sticks goes to an opening at the Museum of Modern Art, and there's Andy Warhol, and you pull that little knob and his ears wiggle at Andy Warhol. Okay. Oh, this is a portrait of Jimmy Manolitas right there. That's him on the left, along with Slim Gaillard, who wrote Flatfoot Floogie with the Floy Floy. And this was Slim's birthday. We gave him a cake. Anyway, I was kind of mad at Jimmy, so I made this piece, and you pull a thing, and the pie goes in his face. Okay. This on the right is a beaded bag that was in Ken's collection, and it's from the Yakima Nation, I think, and it's just really beautiful. And on the left is a portrait called Buffalo Rome, and you pull the arrowhead, and the man bends over to cook his hot dog, and the buffalo butts him. Okay. Oh, there's my studio when I lived in Glebe, Washington, over near Yakima. That was in about 1974. And that's the eclipse, the solar eclipse, me and my friend. Okay. So I think we're kind of into okay. This is a portrait of Dixie Lee Ray when she wanted to bring oil tankers through Puget Sound. And so she's holding a little vial of oil and water, and you pull the rabbit's foot, and she shakes it up. Oh, that's our family TV. It's a Raytheon. And then this is about maybe 10 inches square, and you can there's a light inside of it, and that hand holding the envelope waves it in her face, and go ahead. And then she lifts out, she's a little pin, so you can wear. Okay. Oh, this is a piece I made for my dear friend Jean, who is with me today, when she was having trouble with her teenage girl, Leslie. It's called Teen Brain Lobes. And it's in honor of her 40th birthday? I don't remember. And it's the head, the woman's head with the cigarette. She's smoking away like a teenager, and she's got her brain lobes are all screwed up. Common sense is just a hole, and so she comes off. The aspirin tin is fixed to the back of her head, so you can always take an aspirin when you're wearing it and just dealing with her. So okay. Okay. Well, this is a kind of a self-portrait. It's called Bliss, and you push that button and you hear bird sounds tweeting. She has a bird nest in her head and some brain coral. And that's about 1.5 feet tall, pounded copper. Okay. Oh, and this, last I knew, the city owned this, the city of Seattle. It's called Life So Far. And I was just screwing around inlaying things. And I don't know, I just started going and stopped when I felt like it. So that's, this makes a sound. Oh, it makes a doorbell sound. Yeah, you press a button on the base and it goes ding dong. And they had it at the City Light Building for a while, and people were getting real tired of that sound, I guess. Okay. That's part of it at the top of it. It's like a box, a shadow box kind of thing. It's a very small pin. It's just enamel paint on wood. Go ahead, let's change this one. Oh, the left is a portrait of Vincent van Gogh. He's got, it's an ashtray. He's holding a bunch of matches, and his palette is an ashtray. And this is a present I made for my friend Ann Gerber, and it was when Paul Newman was really hot, like in the 80s, when he was on the cover of Time and everything. So that's it's about 1 foot across, just kind of a relief carving and painted with really shiny paint. So, okay. Okay, this starts the really stupid cartoony part. Maybe this kind of goes in with it seemed like it was kind of evolving with the lecture on Bernie, but let's just be real. Okay, go ahead. It's about how the forms in nature repeat themselves. Okay. Oh, this is when I was in D.C. a long time ago, and I had this stranger. I said, make it so, you know, that corny shot where you put it right. And he said, okay. And then I got home, and it was like that. Okay. Oh, this is a piece that belongs to a collector in Stuttgart. And I made it in the early 80s, and it's called Sore Loser, and it's terrible to wrap up and ship to Stuttgart. And I had to send it with a drawing accompanying it, saying it wasn't art, it was a craft project that I was making, and that the collector was my nephew, and I had to draw a picture of how I wanted him to set it up and everything, and because it would cost way too much to ship it if I didn't do it that way. So anyway, that box thing, the base, is about 1.5 feet long. Yeah, and it's covered with mirror, and then there's linoleum on top and a little shoe squishing a lady's foot that sort of looks like a heart. This is after somebody dumped me, and I was really blue, and he was kind of prominent in Seattle's art scene, and him and his new girlfriend were just like on stage, all, just like this big thing. And so anyway, so you press the button, and the monkeys, there's this woman who's just got her arms wrapped around the thing, and she gets spanked with every beat of the heart. And the light goes on, and there's the Big Dipper up there, and there's a little bear out on a limb, and it's just, there's a dead moth and burnt matches. It's just terrible. So, okay. Oh, so the first grant I got, and then I went to Paris. I spent that money broadening myself. Okay. I went to the Parthenon. I went to this nice guy's houseboat on the Danube. That stretch of the Danube, there's dead cows floating by. It was just not beautiful and blue. But this guy, he was the curator of the Tesla Museum in Belgrade, and I wanted to go there. I wasn't going to go to Yugoslavia, but I went there because at the time I was working on a piece for a City Lights substation. I was working on a great big 4-foot-high tiled head of Nikola Tesla, who was, he sort of thought of everything electrical. Edison hated him, but Tesla was nuts. But anyway, he's the reason we have alternating current. And so I was working on this portrait, and there was a museum dedicated to him there because they were proud of their native son. So anyway, I got to stay on the Danube with the dead cows. Go ahead. Oh, there's everything you wanted to know about sex and were afraid to ask in Rome. It was in 1980. There's me and Einstein. Okay. Oh, on the right is Ken, one of his, back me up, Nancy, if you're still here. He used to, Ken Corey, for one of his classes, he had everybody make a bean mosaic self-portrait. And this is like a really good one, I think. Isn't that great? And on the left is my mother with a Betty Crocker cookbook she left on the burner. I still have that cookbook. Okay. Oh, there's Tesla. There's the drawing I did that I worked off of to make up his thing. Keep going. There's several pictures of the finished piece. So there's me working on it's a welded rebar and expanded metal mesh kind of substructure, and then ferro concrete over that, and then I tiled it. That's my brother Don on the left. He helped me. Well, he welded the rebar for me. That was shortly before he died, 1982. Okay. He's in progress, and there he's being moved. Okay. He's getting installed on the right, and there he is. He was made site-specific to go in the side of a hill, and then I made him kind of like he's kind of like a mask, but he's also a planter. His head is hollow, and wildflowers grew out of his head and went all over the hillside. Well, it was down in Skyway, South Seattle, but it got real badly vandalized, and so first they took it off of the site and moved it to my house in South Seattle at the time, leaned it against a tree, and it was there for years. And then there was a big windstorm, and the tree fell over, and he rolled down into the blackberry bushes, and then stayed there for a long, long time. And then they decided they wanted me to restore him. And by that time, I was living in Ellensburg, so they hired art tech to bring him over, and I fixed him up. And so now he's at a City Light facility up on, just off of Aurora. I think it's on 104th or something like that. So he's in a neighborhood. On Halloween, they put big glasses and a nose thing on him. Okay. Oh, and I designed this pathway there were 2 other artists, and I worked with architects to figure out the art for this site. And so we came up with a pathway with light bulb, little patio areas, grottos going off of it, and that's the drawing for it over there. And so there's him. It was really weird, we went to these meetings every week for a year at least, where we would consult with the landscape architect and the architects, and they would just kind of wait for us. We'd present our stuff, and they just kind of wait for us to stop talking and then go on as if we hadn't said anything. And then one of the guys, the other artist, said, they just can't see it. Let's make them like blueprints. And so we did. We took our stuff, our drawings, and had them blueprinted, and they were like, "Hey, this looks good." It really was. It was the same. It was really amazing. So okay. And then I designed this big gate, and Claire Colquitt, one of the other artists, built it. It's still down there in Skyway, and it's just like 15 feet tall. And this is a bird bath that was there too, that's now in my garden. Thank you, taxpayers. So anyway, go ahead. Okay. Oh, this is an archway I designed for a bumbershoot. They wanted something that would come apart. And so it's a young black man with an afro. Well, not exactly an afro, a pomp or something. And a little old lady holding an umbrella together. And the arms are spangly. I originally was going to do this for the Pike Place Market with a farmer and a lady buying stuff, but it got through the design commission and everything, but it came down to the Pike Place Commission, and I presented it, and they told me it was sexist. So, because she was shopping and had a purse, I guess, and stuff. And I'm like, well, if he was giving her money, that would be even worse. So, and they did. I just finally just said, look, I quit. I don't want to. I'm taking my thing and going home. And so, it never got built at the market, which I'm sad about. Okay. Oh, that's me and my ex-husband, and there's me at Linda Ferris Gallery show. Okay. Where did I put these here? Oh, this on the left, that's Stan Bogart. He walked me down the aisle. He was a dear friend of my dad. My dad had passed by then, and so I made a portrait of him called The Wonderful Guy. It's a kind of a little shadow box thing. There's a pink light bulb behind him. The box is about 5 inches deep, and he's standing on marble with a rock down there, and his suit is linoleum, and the curtains are lead. Anyway, he has a little pink glow behind his head. It's called The Wonderful Guy. And I took him to the gallery to look at it when it was up at Linda Ferris, and he looked at it and he said, well, the least you could have done was give that suit a Western cut. So, because he had a little country Western combo that he played in. So go ahead. This is a portrait I made of my ex-husband called, oh crap, what's it called? Oh, The King. And you open up the door and you can see inside there's a light and stuff. Go ahead. And I did a series of boxes like that. They're all about the same size, about 2 feet across and 1.5 feet high. And they have lights in them. And that one is The Blemish. And this one is Remembering. I used moss and real dog teeth and a shoehorn and a shell and rubber from my inner tubes, and it was really fun. And firecrackers too. Okay. This is from that same series, Waiting in the Gulf. She has a little flickering flame in her heart. It's kind of about a sad a friendship that ended sadly. And this is a portrait of my mom shortly after my dad and my brother had died. It's called Keeping You. It has a light above. And the rocks are made of Durham's rock hard putty, which is really fun to draw on if you ever want to do that. It's real nice with a pencil. Okay. Oh, try this again. Oh, this is a house I used to live in. I made a sink out of copper. We did our dishes in the bathroom for about a year because I just was scared to start it, but I wanted to make it. So, and these are the little shelf brackets I made. Okay. There's this. Okay. This is, I made a series that were all these figures. This is Trouble Bruin. She has holes in her teapot and a 6-shooter, and the tornado's coming, and she has a red dog. And she's about 2 feet tall and hangs on the wall. Okay. And that one's Volare. They're all about the same size. And this one's reflecting. She's mirrors and has a flashlight. And she has a wishbone. She's kind of dowsing with it. Okay. And that one's Tip of the Iceberg. Belongs to... Oh, I probably shouldn't say without the collector's permission. I don't know if she's here yet, still. Anyway, somebody in Seattle owns that, and the one on the right, I don't know where that piece is. It's called Follow in the Water. Okay. Oh, this is Champion Sufferer. She's like standing on somebody, and she's suffering way worse because she has swords all over her. And the one on the right, go forward on the left one and let's see what's there. No, well, yeah. A friend of mine years ago did a little stint in a grade school, taught a little like one-day class, artist in the schools thing, and she had them draw their emotions, and she had them draw them when they were themselves when they were scared and when they were brave. And so this one kid drew this for scared, which I thought was really good. And this is a piece I made that's half of. It's like a two-part thing, but there's 2 separate pieces, but they actually go together. And one's called Runnin' Scared, and the other's Standin' Her Ground. And this is the head of Runnin' Scared. So go ahead. There she is. She's got a whole bunch of legs. She's getting the heck out of there. Okay. And this is Brave. Look how he drew Brave. It's so good. So I just copied him, basically. And there's the her braveness sitting on her shoulder. Okay. Oh, just a feeling. You open up her, she's got a slingshot, and you open up her little door there, and she's got shelves with rocks in there. I think she's pissed. Go ahead. This is that old devil moon. She's really nice with martinis and Madonnas, and then she's, carrying a knife and a baseball hat and has a chip on her shoulder, and so, and this one's, male-female stuff. Okay. Oh, babies. I think I got real tired when I was putting this slideshow together. Go ahead. Sorry. Oh. Okay. This is for that lady who is going to have twins soon. I can't remember your name. I'm sorry. Molly, yeah. Oh, sorry. Be proud. Okay, go ahead. Oh, this is a piece called Thinking Too Hard, And I didn't, it was a portrait of a friend of mine who just is nervous about everything, and so I decided to make a portrait of him. And he looks nothing like this, but anyway, there he is standing in fire, and I had trouble drawing his hands, so I just put mittens on him, and which kind of gives us that little extra oomph, to the discomfort level. And then I put in front of his pants, I took one of those valves from a bike tire, and put that on there. And then I already had the title, Thinking Too Hard, and it made a new kind of sense when I, so anyway, there you go. Oh, there's Uncle Ernest. He has a drawer with all kinds of mysterious stuff in it. He lived in my grandma's barn. He was really cool. He was bad. Okay. That's Lost Again, and this is Horn Dog on Shore Leave. Okay. Heavy Dream and Beautiful Boys. Has a little boat called the Lullaby, and it's lined with moss, and I put a whole bunch of... I started crying while I was making this. I was thinking, sending my boys off with everything they needed, It's just like, oh. So anyway, that's pretty big. It hangs on the wall, and it's about 3.5 feet tall. Okay. Dogs and fire hydrants, haha. Okay. Oh, my favorite hair salon name, Hairgasm. It's a real place. Yeah, and Camelot, the trailer park. I thought that was good too. Okay. Cle Elum School. Wairika Bakery. Oh, there's my old Airedale Bud on home plate in Ballard. The Seattle Pilots sign before that turned into Stropco or whatever it is. Okay. 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 Oh, there's my dog with her head. She's sleeping with her dish and her head in the dish. Just in case, Okay. Oh, here's that guy that I lit on fire. He's called Twice Shy because, once burned, twice shy. And he hit. That's just when he was, go ahead, maybe there's another one of him. That's when he was in progress. And I made these little pails, and sand goes in it. And this is the back of him. It's kind of a relief map that has all kinds of tattoos and different areas named after different friends of mine and my kids and stuff. Okay. Well, there's some close-up. Okay. Arlo Canyon, that's one of my boys, Arlo. The inevitable rapids. Okay. Riley is another one of my sons. And Elroy has the eyeball with the heart. So that's just colored pencil on Durham's putty. Go ahead. Okay. Okay. All right. Try that lefty again. There we go. This is a piece. She's kind of a companion piece to the match guy. He had anyway. And she's 6 feet tall and hangs on the wall, and that's not small, and blah, blah, blah. So,
and she has, you can take her face off, and anyway. You'll see some of this stuff in this next little video I'm going to show you, so go ahead. There she is. So that her face comes off, and you can see her. Let's call it looking for a light. Okay. Oh, this one is out in the lobby. It's a portrait I made of a friend of mine who used to be the mayor of Ellensburg, and he's quite a womanizer, and it's called Welcome to My Town. I made it for him for a Valentine one year. And you pull, and I have another slide where her skirt is down, but you pull the thing and he lifts up her skirt. It looks like him too. Okay, go ahead. And those are both out there, so keep going. Oh, just some more stuff. That's a pendant with the figures kind of wiggle around, their arms and legs wiggle. Okay. This is a portrait of Marlon Brando, and it's called Hot Blood. His eyes are opals. They look kind of creepy, but they're pretty in person. Okay. That's it. On the left is Howard Finster's place in Georgia with his hubcaps in the trees. Okay. Oh, Dogs in the Snow, and Peter Sellers in a movie that I really liked called The Party. Where he goes in the bathroom and the painting falls into the toilet and he tries to wipe it off with toilet paper and the roll is unraveling like crazy and it just one thing happens after another. It's really good. Okay. Oh, this is a cute little car. Oh, look, a flying saucer. Go ahead. This is a little car that I saw in Greece. Okay, this I just like it. He looks so uncomfortable with all those rabbits. That's Ken Corey's old car. Okay. Yeah, so this little vehicle was just a repose of the yin yang, you know? Look at it. Okay. Pounded from behind. Okay. Cool. Just some pretty things. Oh, that's an apple I grew in a bottle for Ken. I told him, I used to live in the middle of an orchard, but I didn't think of the idea of growing a thing in a bottle till you couldn't do it the right way in a narrow neck, so I just had to put it in an old milk bottle. And it has brandy in there, and I sealed it up with wax and told him to save it for an important time. And then he died, so I have it. So I'm saving it. And I just like this postcard. It's people at the end of the world and people are going up, the rapture. I can't remember the name of the painter who did it, but I really like that picture. Okay. Here, there's my mom. We drove across southern Canada one summer, and so I took her picture by her hotel. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. All right. Well, this is a really pretty door pull on the door to a pharmacy in Florence, Italy. A snake. Okay. This is a float in the Sela Pioneer Days parade. It's just like you could just hear it scraping down the road. It's cardboard. It's camouflage. It's a tank. It's camouflage. And it was just that was the best parade I've ever been to. They had one
one section that was just all kids on their bikes, just running into each other and falling over. And it was great. Okay. I mean, really. Okay. I think that might be the end. Oh, no, there's Abraham Lincoln having car trouble. He's a brooch. Okay. Okay, I think this might be the end. Go ahead. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, now we get
Now, after experiencing some automotive artwork on the streets, how about some more fanciful artwork? Since the early 1970s, Merrily Tompkins of Ellensburg has gained notoriety around the
like how
Northwest
he says I'm
and the
not
world
refined.
with her creative side.
The true mark of genius is not perfection, but originality. So I take comfort in that when I feel like I'm, making something that's not quite the way that the teacher would tell me to make it. I like stuff that you can tell somebody made it and cared about it and not like it was made by a machine. It's mixed media, and it's three-dimensional, and it's narrative, and it's a lot of it has moving parts, kinetic, and it's just kind of stories.
It's artwork that's as animated, unrefined, and whimsical as its creator, Merrily Tompkins of Ellensburg, Washington. Merrily's work has been displayed in Europe, New York, Washington, D.C., and in the Northwest. Merrily says that over the years there has been more acceptance in the art world for her unconventional type of work.
I conjure. I just jump in there and it's real hard. I have a hard time getting out to the studio. I think the only reason I'm doing this is because I don't know what else to do at this point. I've been doing it for so long, but when I started out, I didn't stop to think about making a living. But it's just hard work. But once you get in there and start, forget what time it is, and just get something, it all falls into place, and it's just that great high feeling. And so that's what it's about for me. I just kind of roll with it, I start off a point and go. Here's an example of my larger pieces. This is called Looking for a Light. And she's got a little candle here, smoking a pipe. And this is sterling silver. A lot of times when I make larger pieces, I incorporate materials that I'm familiar with from making jewelry. And a lot of little, like her hands are copper. And she has a surprise feature that I can't reach. Her face comes off, and then she's, there's her little light. And you can do this too.
Much of Merrily's work is based on objects that she has found.
I use just anything. I've used dirt and moss and diamonds, and a lot of the little found objects are things that my father had. He was a real collector. He had this whole wall at home of empty Brown and Haley candy boxes full of little things, and I used to just sneak in there and look at them. And so I kind of enjoy that because it's like I'm sending them out again. And my dad he was always tinkering with stuff. He'd go to junk stores and get parts of broken glasses and cannibalize them and put them together and make stuff. So I was kind of surrounded by that.
Merrily found much of her inspiration from her own family. Her brother Don was also an artist and art teacher at Central Washington University. Merrily attended Central for a while and even took classes from her brother.
When I was going to Central, I decided to take a quarter off and go to the big city and get a job. And while I was there, I got hooked up with a gallery and was offered a show. And it sold out, so I just thought, well, this is pretty good. I'll just do this.
Merrily displayed her work at various galleries in Seattle. Her career was going strong in the 1970s and 80s.
This is a pretty old piece. I think I made this in 1976. It's a portrait of a friend of mine who used to hang art shows. He's got a level and a plumb bob, and it's called How to Improve Your Picture. And he pounds on the TV with his beer bottle and his plant jumps up. And then on the back, he kept changing his hairstyles every couple years back in the 70s. First he got a perm here. So I made these little wigs. Here's his punk one, it's pink. And then you can just put it on him. There, see? Now he's discoed up.
In the late 1980s, Merrily took a break from her career and began raising a family of her own. And now, her artwork is making a comeback.
Well, from here, I just would like to just keep at it. I'd like to have a larger studio so I could do more bigger pieces. But so far, I just kind of go in a corner and get on the table and clear everything off. So, but I think, you know, I like what I'm doing now, and I'll just it just kind of moves ahead on its own.